Hey guys, I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is remaining safe and healthy and getting all of their world history obligations taken care of. This is sort of one of the final steps in the year, so I want to make a couple of quick announcements and then I'll show you what our last assignment's going to look like. All right, so first and foremost, again, I hope everybody is doing really well. I hope last week you were able to complete the beginning of the Cold War assignment, 1946 to 1950. I had hoped that we could get beyond 1950 and into the 2000s at least, but with all of the different mitigating circumstances this year, that is roughly how far we are going to get. That being said, I've been doing my best to get HAC updated frequently throughout the week. Remember, if you turn something in, that's wonderful, but it won't go into HAC instantly. There's a process involved where I need to pull it off the server, I need to grade it, and then I need to enter it. So please, if you've turned it in and you know you've turned it in, that's great. But if you don't see it right away in HAC, that doesn't mean that I don't have it. It just means I haven't gone through that process just yet with it. But trying to do that every day, every other day, a little more frequently than even when we were in class. So hopefully that's up to date. Remember, if you see a blank spot, that means that I don't have your assignment, or at least I didn't have it the last time I graded. So please, if you're missing anything, get it done, get it submitted. I'm going through literally every one of these fourth quarter assignments and trying to scoop up any of the later missing ones that have been turned in. The absolute deadline to turn anything in for credit is going to be June 1st at 8 a.m. So I'll be hitting the button obviously in between that, but June 1st, 8 a.m., I'm going to go through all the assignments one last time, and then that's going to be fourth quarter. That'll be it. And it's kind of this unusual pass-fail situation. So you want to make sure you're on the passing side of that for grade points, for eligibility for fall sports. Obviously, some of you need it for credit for the course, so it's really, really important. I know these are unusual circumstances, but try to budget your time, carve out some time. I would probably start right now by looking at HAC and making a list to see what assignments I'm missing, and then make a plan to get those taken care of. Remember, all of them are here on the site, every single one. There's also the videos, the notes, everything you need to assist you. So for example, if you see you're missing the 1944 assignment, you can go in and take care of that. I would also encourage you, first of all, to try and do the assignments, if you haven't already, in chronological order. I see some people just sort of picking and choosing random assignments, and that actually makes it a lot more difficult for you because you don't have the background. Everything sort of builds on each other. So, for example, when we wrapped up World War II and then we get into 1946 Cold War stuff, it kind of is a natural progression. But if you pick and choose and jump around, it's not going to make as much sense for you. The other thing is, make sure you're doing your best on these. Make sure you're putting in the effort. Don't just make up a bunch of gobbledygook and say, here it is. Because I can't give you a passing grade. And unfortunately, right now, there's nothing in between passing and failing. So if you just make up some gobbledygook, I'm going to ask you to redo it, and then you're going to have to go back and redo it anyway. So please take your time. Certainly not speaking to everybody, but I've seen a few like that. The majority of you are doing what you got to do, taking care of your business, which is great. And of course, if you have any questions, fire an email off to me. I'd be happy to help you out or answer them. Okay, so that's just background. June 1st, 8 a.m. Okay, so this is going to go live, May 18th? And so that'll give you some time to wrap everything up, including our very last assignment. So the last assignment of the year is right here. It's called World History End of the Year Assignment. And I was trying to kind of come up with a different way, a fun way to kind of conclude our year. I mentioned that we hadn't gotten as far as I had wanted to, as far as getting to more modern times, because of the fact that we're living through some serious history right now, and we lost some time school-wise. Long story short, though, we did cover a ton of stuff. We go back to like the 1500s when we started the year, and we talked about the absolute monarchs and Louis the 14th and all those guys, and then we talked a lot about the Enlightenment. I mean, who could forget all the fun we had with the Enlightenment philosophes? I mean, everyone enjoyed that for sure. We got into the revolutions, like the French Revolution and the guillotine, the Reign of Terror and Robespierre, and of course, the American Revolution with the Declaration of Independence and all of those things. We spent a ton of time talking about Napoleon and how he shapes an entire age, the age of Napoleon, as he's, thrust out of the French Revolution and into Europe, and his continental system and his fighting with England and Russian peninsular campaign and all that stuff that we enjoyed. Everybody loved Napoleon. And then we got into all the other revolutions around the world, inspired by nationalism in places like Latin America and other places in Europe. We talked about the Industrial Revolution, the mills of Manchester. Boy, remember how much fun it was? We're making our textiles and everything else. And then right around Christmas, we got into that whole idea of imperialism, where those European countries were carving up the rest of the world with their influence and their power and so forth. And then after Christmas, second semester, right? We had basically our third quarter, and now we've been virtual for the last few weeks. We've looked at more 20th century stuff. World War I. We spent a lot of time on World War I. We spent some time looking at the 1920s, the Roaring Twenties, and then the depressions in the 1930s and the rise of the dictators, people like Mussolini and Hitler. And then we spent a lot of time during this fourth quarter home experience talking about World War II and going through World War II and the Holocaust as well. So we've covered a ton of ground. With this final assignment, what you're going to be doing basically is picking one topic that you really enjoyed this year or that you found interesting this year. You're going to be writing a short little script, and you're going to be recording a really short video about it. So let me go ahead and share with you the directions. So obviously, first of all, you're going to go ahead, you're going to click on the tile, and when you click on the tile, it should open the file for you. And I'm gonna, oh, my video is freezing. Sorry about that. Come on now. I'm gonna refresh. Let's go. Technology, right? I think I'm overwhelming my machine here as I record and whatnot. So obviously, click on the tile, and it will open up the file for you. Oh, there we go. All right. This is just a PDF file, so it should open no problem on the Chromebook. Now, here's the thing. Please make sure that you read the directions carefully. This is a little bit different than the other assignments we've done. I thought it might be fun to do something a little different. Might be a good idea to do something, just a little bit way to recap everything we've done this year, and it should be fun, okay? So the directions will start. I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing here. So basically, you're going to choose one of those topics that we talked about this year. You're going to write a script, and you're going to record a 1.5 minute or so video on Flipgrid going over some key points. Things like, what was your topic? Where and when did it take place? How did the topic begin? How did it end? Who were the most important people? At least 3 important events. And then what lessons can this topic teach us about the future? Okay, so your video is going to be very short and very brief, but it also must be full of content. Okay, like I said before, don't just make up some gobbledygook and say that's my video. You want to go back into your previous assignments, your class notes. You want to pull out the real information. Okay, so if you say something like, I really like Napoleon, he was cool, I can't give you a passing grade. You have to actually tell me about Napoleon and what did he do, and pull facts from the assignments, pull facts from the class notes. And let me open up another window here. Bear with me, my connection must be slow this morning or something like that. So I actually put for you guys, and since we're not live yet, I'm going to go through our back door here. You didn't see that. It's the last assignment, that's fine. There we go. So here we go. All right. So over here on this side, I put all of the class notes. So in other words, these are all the PowerPoints that we went over this year. I mean, some of them obviously we did in class together, the same ones that were on the site. Some of them obviously we've been doing virtually, like the World War II ones. okay? But all your info is there. So if you decide, hey, I want to talk about, the Napoleonic Wars, great. I can go ahead, I can click on this, and it will download the class notes for me. And it'll just open up in your slides, and then you can go through and get your information that way. All right. You don't want to just go to a website and recite a bunch of stuff that you see on a website. All right. You want to kind of go through some of those things that we had talked about. And it could be any of these topics, but I put the links right on the page to make it really, really easy for you to do that. Okay. All right. So tips for success. So these are the main topics. These are some of the details from those main topics. So I would look these over before I chose my topic to really know which one I want to do, which one is really exciting for me. And then I would try to include as many of those things maybe in my video as I can. And again, I just go back to my notes here and I can pull those. Do I have to look at all of those PowerPoints? Of course not. I'm just looking at whatever is appropriate. So if I do the Enlightenment, I can go back here. Here's a bunch of Enlightenment stuff, and here's some things that I think are important about the Enlightenment that I would want to see in your video. Okay, so this will take a little bit of time and planning. I'm going to choose what I want. I'm going to make sure I include some important events, and then I would strongly consider writing a script once you have that information. So if I chose the Enlightenment, I could figure out, obviously, where did it take place? When did it take place? I could figure out all of those things. I could find my facts. I can use that chart to help me. And then I write some kind of script. The reason you want to write a script is you don't want to sound like me in this video and just start spitballing and rambling on and the computer's not working and then it sounds kind of silly, right? This should be kind of a fun thing but a serious thing, okay? Please don't just make a video that's not really full of the information that's just silly. Okay, so I wrote a sample script here for you guys to see. It's not super long. It's like a paragraph, but it's rich. It's full of all kinds of good information. All right, so once I have my topic chosen, once I've done my research, once I have my script, now I'm just going to go ahead and record the video. And the video is how I'm going to grade you. So I'm going to go into this Flipgrid that I created, and I'm going to see your video, and that's how you're going to get your pass or fail grade. All right, so there's no Google form with this. It's just, did you post your video? And what I did was I put a lot of real detailed instructions in here for you to do it. So all you do is you go to flipgrid.com, and then you enter the code. All right, so once you do that, let's see if I don't know if I want to stress the machine out here, but if I go to flipgrid.com, maybe you've used it before with other classes, it's going to say enter a Flipgrid code, and the code for this assignment is this crazy looking thing here, D16F, whatever that is. So maybe you just want to copy and paste it like I'm doing, and then it should take you to this, okay? Now, it's going to ask you to log in with Google or Microsoft. Now, I know this makes absolutely no sense, right? Because you are on a Chromebook, but for some reason, all of your school emails are Microsoft. So in the directions, it will say that. Make sure that you're aware of that. Otherwise, you're going to be highly frustrated not being able to log in. All right? So great. So I'm going to go ahead. I am going to log in. I don't know. Maybe I'll log in as my lovely wife since she has a part of my email too. And then I have to enter her password. Whatever your password is that you get into your school email is what it's going to want. Okay? And now once you do that, you are in. Okay? So again, you can watch those directions again. You can read it here, but it will take you through step by step. Biggest thing is pick Microsoft, otherwise it's not going to work for you. All right, and then here are the directions to record your video. So what I would do is I'd probably practice my script a couple of times, and maybe I hold it up above my camera so it doesn't look like I'm just reading off of it. And then I just scroll down here, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on the button, and it's going to let me record a response. And so I would take my script then, and I would read it. I would be like, hi, my name is Mr. Gigliotti, and I really enjoyed learning about the beginning of the Cold War. And then I would start going through it. And then at the end, it'll ask you to choose a cover. And then finally, submit. Make sure that when you submit, you put your full name on there, and then add your title as to which topic did you choose. Okay, so if I was doing it, I might write, my full name, Mr. Gigliotti. What topic did I choose? The Age of Napoleon. Boom, submit it. And what'll happen if it works out is you'll see all the people posting their videos here, and it should be a sort of a cornucopia of all these things we've learned this year, right? All these different things. I'm assuming most of you will choose different topics, so you'll be able to see other people's work, see other people's topics. Kind of a great way to share, collaborate as we wrap up the year. So this is a little longer direction-wise. Again, though, if you have any questions, just email me. Hopefully it'll all work out. We haven't done any Flipgrid this year, but I thought, hey, last assignment of the year, why not? Rather than read, write, review, and all the other stuff we've been doing over and over again. So, I hope you're great. Please get the work done. Looking forward to seeing your videos. Fire off an email if there's anything I can do to help you. And enjoy the last assignment. Enjoy as the weather starts to get nicer. And most of all, please, please, please stay safe. Stay healthy. We all miss you guys. And hopefully we'll see you again live real soon. All right. Have a great